Hello and welcome to Business Stories on Business Television Africa. My name is Anna Maria Nyame. Coming up shortly, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunication has organized a public forum in Accra for some operators and a section of consumers to address their grievances. The Secretary General of the Trades Unions Congress of Ghana, Kofi Asamoah, has reacted to some attempts by some oil companies in the country to prevent their workers to form unions. And finally, an oil and gas industry expert says East African countries have the potential to reach development level of Qatar, the world's richest country per capita, if its massive oil and gas resources will prudently be managed. Consumers and service providers in the telecommunication industry in Ghana are faced with a number of challenges for years now. Whilst consumers are complaining of call drops, internet bundle inconsistencies, bonus airtime, among others, telecom operators, on the other hand, say cost of doing business in the country is high, over 6 billion Ghana cedis to infrastructure. To help address some of these challenges, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunication has organized a public forum in Accra for some operators and consumers to address their grievances, as well as provide technical advice on how best consumers can minimize cost.
In recent times, not even a day goes by without some interference encountered in call making. However, operators have persistently denied that they are deliberately responsible for such situation. It is in this light of these that the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunication on Wednesday organized a public forum to address the diverse challenges facing consumers with regards to telecommunication operators in the country. The forum attracted major operators in the industry, students, businesses, and consumer groups to dialogue on how best the challenges facing both operators and consumers can be addressed. Internet bundles, bonus airtimes, roaming services, connectivity were among other questions posed to service operators.
The telcos, according to the GSMA report, we are what they call capacity band and coverage band that they broadcast data service on. And it seems Ghana we broadcast ours on the coverage band instead of the capacity band. So I can have 3G on my phone, but I won't have any internet. If I want to search something on the internet, my device will start searching for the telecom company. So I would like to ask whether that is the cause of the poor connectivity.
My question is to Vodafone specifically. What is called the caps? I don't think it's fair, because that is not the practices that is around even some areas in Africa, where prices have gone up, but the liberty to browse unlimited for a month is taken away from me. You claim you've given me more data. Do I really need it? The question is, allow me to browse unlimited for 1 month for the higher fee. You just gone up on your fees, I think, a week ago. It is not fair for any user, especially with the students over there, who might want to do research to enhance us to bridge the gap between the countries out there and we in Africa. So I think it's something that we need to look into it again. As to, yes, if you want to charge 100 Ghana, let me browse unlimited for 1 month. It is not fair for you to do what is called the caps. Thank you.
Find out. If you dash something to someone, you don't necessarily look for a reward from the same person. Mm-hmm. On the night free night course, it's like MTN, especially MTN. If they happen to have this free night course, and people will be waiting to have this free night course on the day light, and if you try to make a call from your credit, I swear, they will, I don't know whether they drag it or they snatch it or they steal it, or I want to find out. So, for instance, I have 3 networks here. So the day that one will happen to MTN, then it means I have to use other Airtel for the day.
Some of the operators responded to the questions posed.
Most of us now, we carry the smartphones. They're smartphones and they do stuff on their own. So one critical advice when you're traveling, I've had the roaming shock as well. So when you're traveling, you need to switch off your data. Quite a lot of our customers says, my data service is not running, but you have to actually go into your smartphone and deactivate data Otherwise, it will consume a lot of your credit, and we get the billing later. And we can show that, okay, the data service was actually running on the other network, because they will present us with a bill. The key challenge is when you're outside the country, we cannot activate your roaming. From the system point of view, we have to activate your roaming on the system before you go out. So once you're outside the country, your roaming facilities cannot be activated. So in addition to, if let's say you have a credit limit of 500 Ghana cedis, the CDRs, the call records from abroad, might take between 12 to 24 hours to come down. So within that 12 to 24 hours, you might have just been on a call to Ghana. My experience was a 7-minute call.
This is not tied to just Tigo. There are lots of reasons why we are experiencing this in the industry. One of the main reasons is the rampant fiber cuts that we are having, especially in the western corridors. And anytime the fiber is cut, it impacts the network greatly. So this is a general issue that is happening, and we are trying to address as much as possible. We are trying to reduce the time to fix these sites when they go down. And then also we are implementing a lot of initiatives to ensure that the experience on the network is better in terms of speed, in terms of spamming, putting in anti-spam and stuff on the network to ensure that it's improved. So
the interest of the child is also the parent's responsibility. That's very important. What the child does on the internet is actually all the time within the control of the home, the parents, the mother, and the father. There are a lot of things you can do from our side, but there are also a lot of things that parents can do in terms of ensuring that the children are going to sites that are important for their education and not for any social vice. So I believe that I must also add that there are a lot of things you can do on your own computer to restrict children from visiting sites. I mean, you go into your security, you restrict your security to ensure that various sites cannot be accessed on your browser. So I think it's a responsibility for both the parent, and then whilst we're doing the anti-filtering, we also expect our parents who are value customers to also take an action from that.
According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Kweku Sechi Ado, though operators continue to invest hugely on infrastructure, cost of doing business is still high. He, however, cautioned consumers to pay particular attention to the type of mobile handset they use.
You're talking about fake phones. So fake phones reduce or hurt the customer's quality of experience because the components are substandard. So the person you're talking to isn't going to hear you properly, and you are not going to hear the person properly either. All right, because both the mouthpiece and the earpiece are substandard. They drop calls more. They are more likely. About 25 to 30% more drop calls are experienced on fake phones. So the advice is that you try and invest in a genuine handset. But also there's a way to know whether or not your handset is genuine. And all you need to do is dial *#06#. *#06#, and you get an IMEI number which will show up. That will tell you that your handset is genuine. Now, the National Communications Authority, which is the regulator, is doing public sensitization on type approval. So they are looking at regulating the kinds of phones that come into the country to ensure that customers have a better experience, all right? Because some of the complaints are really about the type of devices that you're using, so that we do not confuse the things that a network operator has to improve with the things that have to do with the choices that the subscriber has himself or herself made. Well, first, the decision has to be made by the regulator. That's the industry regulator, that's the NCA. And of course, then you've got the Standards Authority, which also would have a part to play in it. Just as you're not allowed to, or it's illegal to import fake drugs or fake anything, it applies to mobile handsets and devices as well.
In order to be sure whether the phone you are using or about to purchase is of high standard, dial *#06# was a key message passed to consumers at the forum.
The Secretary General of Trades Union Congress, Kofi Asamoah, has reacted to some attempts by some oil companies in the country to prevent their workers to form unions. In an interview in Accra on information that some oil and gas service companies in the country are hampering efforts by their local staff to unionize, Kofi Asamoah says such actions contravene the laws of the country and must be resisted.
Ghanaians working with various oil and gas companies operating in the western region have hinted of attempts to deny them the opportunity to form unions. Reports say 7 oil companies currently operating in Takoradi have rejected plans by their workers to form unions. The General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, Mr. Kofi Asamoah, expressed his concern on the issue, referring to constitution provisions which clearly provides that every worker has the right to form or join a union to protect their economic interest. He criticized some multinational companies for exploiting workers and trampling on their rights.
The General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, which is the TUC affiliate that operates in the petroleum, oil and gas sector, that to the effect that some companies are refusing to recognize workers' rights to form and join unions of their choice. I must say that it is quite distasteful to hear that companies or employers would be undermining the interests of workers to form or join unions. The 1992 Constitution clearly provides, that is Ghana's Constitution, provide that every worker has the right to form or join a union to protect their economic interests. And the same thing is translated in our labor laws and statute books, other labor statute books. So no employer has the right to stop any worker from exercising that right. And I would want to really express our solidarity for workers in the oil and gas, that forming and joining unions are their legitimate rights, and nobody under the sun of this republic can stop them from joining unions. So they should resist all attempts by their employers to form unions, and indeed form unions to protect themselves. We are aware that multinational companies are mostly interested in exploiting workers. So sometimes when workers want to form or join unions, they see it as a way of perhaps undermining their own attempt to maximize profits. So it's important to drum home to everybody in this country that forming and joining unions are the rights of workers. Every worker has the right to form and join unions. So nobody should put impediments in the way. And indeed, we expect workers who get through that challenge to formally make a representation, and then we really would take the necessary line of action to ensure that workers' rights are protected always. We heard that the labor officer there has drummed home clearly to the oil companies, and indeed would want to really make them appreciate that while doing their business in the country, or while going about their duties in this country, they have no right to stop anybody from joining the unions. The workers should go ahead And indeed, let me use the opportunity in calling on all workers who are going through that challenge that they have the right to form and join unions to protect their economic and social interests. The workers should indeed go ahead in earnest to form and join unions. That is the only way they can as well ensure that they would have improved working and living conditions. That is the only way they can ensure some legitimacy in the contract between them and their employers, and also negotiate for provisions that can really protect their interests as working people. So they should ignore all attempts by their employers to frustrate them, and indeed form and join unions to protect their interests.
He says, when workers join unions, they undermine companies' action to maximize their profits. Mr. Kofi Asamoah later advised the workers who go through the challenge to formally make a representation to the Trade Union Congress. He assured that their rights will be protected.
The Board of Directors and Management of Societe Generale Ghana Limited, SGSSB, has organized the 34th Annual General Meeting of the bank. The meeting was used to present the company's reports and financial statements for the financial years, which ended 31st December 2013. The meeting was used to represent the company's reports and financial statements for the financial year, which ended 31st December 2013. The bank, according to management, remained robust within the context of an extremely competitive environment and was able to achieve a tremendous amount in 2013 in managing strategic changes.
The management of SGSSB say the year 2013 was a very good year for Societe Generale Ghana, despite the difficulties the country went through. Societe Generale Ghana Limited made a net profit of 36.36 million for the 12 months from January to December 2013, helped by net banking income, which rose by 31.27%. The year also saw a 23.27% growth in current operating expenses, and shareholders' funds increased from 169,814,305 cedis to 193,701,316 cedis, representing an increase of 14.0%. The bank recorded a 31% profit after tax at the end of operations for the year. Mr. Kofi Ampem, chairman of the board of directors, who announced this at the 34th annual general meeting in Accra, said the bank also declared a dividend of 6 Ghana pesos per share payable on May 15, 2014. The meeting was to account to the shareholders of the bank and discuss performance of the bank and how to improve its services in the coming years. Mr. Ampem stated that 2013 was the year for the bank as they celebrated their 10 years in Ghana, rebranded and opened new branches in Kaswa and Osu. Additionally, the bank implemented the optimization of activities and selected investment sales projects in the western sector of Ghana. He said a brand new ultra-modern head office was completed to accommodate all the head office departments from 4 different locations into one building. Mr. Ampem assured that Societe Generale Ghana, with its new international branding, would continue to maintain growth through quality products and services, adding that 2014 would be a year of quality. Mr. Kofi Ampem, the chairman for Societe Generale Bank, said in an interview with BTA News, commented on the bank's share price and the impact of branding on its performance.
Before the name change, it was far lower. And after the name change to an international brand, Societe Generale, it went way up and that stabilized and is doing very well. So we are very pleased with that. Given the economic environment, I think we are doing well compared to other banks. I think we are okay. In the coming year, you expect some expansion and growth, and we hope to bring in new products and satisfy all our clientele, and bring in some special things that will please everybody.
As part of an agreement between the Global Pharma Health Fund and the Center for Pharmaceutical Advancement and Training, CPAT, To improve access to good quality, safe and beneficial medicines, the GPHF has officially handed over first mini laboratory to CPAT at a ceremony in Accra. The mini lab is to help ensure quality assurance in supply of medicines and to help detect counterfeit medicines at various points.
The issue of fake or counterfeit medicines at health posts and various pharmacy points have reared their ugly heads in the country of late and have been the cause of many deaths in various hospitals. In recent times, the Food and Drugs Board has had its fair share of controversies surrounding pharmaceutical companies and the importation of fake and substandard drugs into the country. This has resulted in serious financial and legal implications to such businesses found culpable of the menace and threatens their very existence. Unfortunately, Ghana lacks adequate technology and capacity to offer expert advice in laboratory operations and engage in physicochemical testing to support and strengthen quality assurance systems in a sustainable way. One facility that exists to build human resource capacity in pharmaceutical quality assurance is the Center for Pharmaceutical Advancement and Training, CPAT, an offspring of the U.S. Pharmacopeia Convention, USP. In October 2013, the center signed an agreement with the Global Pharma Health Fund, GPHF, under which the fund will provide mini laboratories to support the fight against counterfeit and substandard drugs. Since its inauguration in May 2013, CPAT has trained personnel from over 9 African countries.
Thank you for watching. My name is Anna Maria Nyame. That's it for Business Stories on Business Television Africa. My name is Anna Maria Nyame. Thanks for watching.